You're the heart and soul of the hood. Your unique style. Your swag. You got this. Project Under Hood. Welcome to Project Under Hood. I'm your host, Candace, and I invite you to join me as we explore the heart and soul of the hood, from classic movies to real life stories. I love watching movies. And when I watch movies, I'm always analyzing the characters in the picture to see how they are parallel to my real life experience. And this is how Project Under Hood was born. I would like to introduce my guest here today.
Hi everyone, I'm Kania and I'm excited to be here and talk about everything about the film.
And my name is Tamar, or Tay. I'm also excited to be here and talk about the film.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm excited to be here as well.
Thank you. Okay, these are the famous pools in the house. These my girls, you know. And I decided to ask these young ladies to come because they, in my mind, really depicted the girls in this movie. What about my friends? And they've been friends for a very long time, and I'm just so glad that they're here. And I would like to ask them, you know, anybody can speak up first. You know, how did you guys meet? Where did you guys meet at?
High school. We
Okay.
met up in high school.
In high school.
Yeah, and we've just been, inseparable or however since,
And as friends, did you find some parallel things in the movies as friends, as being in a group? Because in this movie, these three girls kind of depended on each other. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know, what did you guys see in the movie that identified y'all as a group?
So I feel like there was a lot of scenes in the movie where I could go, oh wow, like I had an experience like that with my sisters, you know what I mean? And just the togetherness that they had, some of the roles that they had, like one of the characters was very much like the mommy of the group, or the other one was very much like kid-like and, just goofy. And when I was watching, I thought of so many memories that we all had in high school, and I could like say, oh my God, like this was such and such. So yeah, it was really like refreshing and nostalgic to see. So, and it was also cool to see like this was such a film from back in the day that it still represents like from our time.
Yeah. And I can agree with you with that because I noticed that, they had a lot of, different personal struggles, and they would bounce off of each other, So what I want to know is, which character did you personally identify with?
For me, I think I identified with Brina.
Brina?
Yeah.
Okay. And why is that?
Some parts were like, she lived with her parents and little sister, which, that's how I grew up as well. And not being able to like afford a couple of things and living in the projects, I'm just like, oh wow, like those were certain things that I related to her.
And you, Tamar?
I would say the character I related to most was probably Alex, what's her name, with the braids?
Yeah.
I would say I related to her because on the outside looking in, like she looks like her life, like, she had both of her parents, and she had, I guess, like material things, like she looked like she had things, but on the inside of her home, like they did struggle with like having money for her to go to school. And so it always, I feel like with me, that it kind of gave that when I was in school. Like I feel like I came off as though I had certain things, or that, because I was always very well like mannered and things like that, I feel like. And I feel like people assumed that my life was a certain way, but really it wasn't. Like I didn't, have things like that. Like I lived with my aunt for real. I didn't live with my mom or my dad. Like, but from the outside looking in, I feel like I came off very like polished, if that's I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying about Alex because she would always try to, somewhat come off a little polished, like you said, but she had some things going on, some triggers with her about, like you said, her parents lived in like maybe medium low income, and they were, trying to also send their other sisters and I think it was their brother to college. And what Alex assumed was that that they would have the money for her, and that's a good assumption. I think my parents would have the money for me also, but that wasn't the case. But she was supposed to like put in more than one college, but she didn't. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of caused a little problem for her down the line. And you?
It would be Brina. Same thing, similar to Kania. Basically, the insecurity, she had to apply to Spelman at first when she was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get in. And she had a little bit of doubt. It was the same thing for me when applying to colleges. I was like, am I going to get into certain schools? I don't know. And then also, she was hesitant to go to Spelman because she didn't want to leave her friends. So she then decided, oh, should I go to UCLA because I get a full ride? It's like trying to keep everything together, like all the friends together. So that's the part I really related to her on.
Yeah. I feel you on that. And just to give the viewers a little bit more of the backdrop about the movie, it was about these three young girls that are in high school at this time, but they wanted to stay together. And by staying together, they had picked a school called Spelman College. So this is how their friendship, they didn't want to leave each other. They wanted to stay close to each other. And so I believe it was Alex, it was Temple that lived in a nice apartment. Her father wasn't there, but her mother previously had went to Spelman, but she had to drop out, I believe, in 11th grade. Her senior year, okay. And to take care of her child because she was pregnant at the time. So, Temple, felt it, like she felt it a little, I can't say spited by her mother, but her mother made her feel a way that she was pregnant with her and she had to drop out of school. So, she had a little complex, that relationship with her mother was kind of, hard. How do you see yourself in a situation like that? How do you see yourself in a situation, with dealing with that?
Well, looking into like her character and seeing what she had to go through with her mom, I feel as though she was trying to prove herself to her mom. Like at one point I seen like, she's trying to be the best daughter that she can and prove to her like, I'm your daughter, like see me as me and don't see me as like I'm the reason that you didn't finish college. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think she also wanted to go to Spelman too to kind of carry on that for her mom.
Yeah.
At least that's what I was looking at.
Right.
And if that was me, I know it would be hard because it's like you have to pick either be the daughter for your like your mother, like choose that relationship,
right,
or choose yourself and just figure things out on your own, but you can't do that without having like a relationship with your mom, you understand?
Yeah.
And so I know that would have been hard for her.
Yeah.
Or for me.
Yeah, it was very hard because she wanted her mother's acceptance.
Yeah.
And I think we all grow up looking for some type of acceptance, right? We all look for either from our parents or our friends or anybody that we can get that from, instead of, like really accepting ourselves. So we already see some triggers with her. Now, I also noticed that with Brina, like her friends would come to her project where she lived at and stuff like that, but she never allowed them to come upstairs. So she was somewhat kind of embarrassed, but she also was moving in a kind of spirit like, how could I say that? I have to get out of the hood, because her father, she looked at her father and said, look, my father did all this, and look where we at, you know. He don't basically, you know, something I might have would say, you know, got nothing to show for himself. So she was driven. Would you say that she was driven by desperation? Who can elaborate on that? Was she driven by any type of desperation?
I would say, yeah, I could see that. I feel like maybe she, more than her friends, really felt like she needed to be out of her situation. Like, yeah, I do feel like she was driven by that, and like looking at her surroundings, like even when she was walking out her building and those girls were like, you know, trying to like bully her, like even like thinking of she had to get away from that because she felt like she was in danger in that type of situation. So I do feel like she was more driven by like needing to change her situation.
And I can personally feel that same way, because, you know, like growing up and you may not have a father figure or anything like that. You want to do better. You want to, you know, have the next generation do better. Like my moms may have stopped here, and I'm going to pick up the torch and try to, you know, take it a little further. But we can see that in our neighborhoods, we're going to bring it back to home. We can see, like, in our neighborhoods, we have a lot of obstacles, you know what I'm saying, that can, you know, deter us or make us feel down. Could you tell the viewer audience some of the challenges that you had to decide, oh, you know what, after I finish high school, I'm going to go to college?
I would say, yeah, I felt that way because I'm looking at my family like, wow, like if I go to college, I'll probably be like the first one to actually make it and make them proud. Not only make myself proud, but make them proud. And like living in the projects, it's kind of hard to see that like end of the tunnel, because you're kind of like, it's either if I don't go, I'm gonna end up like this and repeating the whole cycle. If I do go, I can open up that road and have like better opportunities for my family.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody want to piggyback on that?
For me, going to college was not necessarily because of an obstacle, because both of my parents went to college. My thing was, how do I become more financially stable for them so that they can enjoy certain things, like, well, mainly my mom. How can she enjoy traveling without, like, oh my gosh, we got to save money for this, we can't spend it on that, to have more of a financial freedom. That was the plan for me when I went to college. How do I become so successful that no one around me has to worry about anything?
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, you.
To breathe.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
Yeah, that's so true. You want to do better in some cases for maybe like your mother or your father. You want to be able to afford them a better lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Also, I noticed that their friendship, right? They were very dependent on each other, and we could see, we know the reason why, you know, we can see the reasons why, you know. First for Temple, of course, her mom's about the school. Alex, she was, you know, like you said, polished. And then Brina, because, you know, her father and mother, she wanted to get out of the hood. We see those things why they have come together to be as friends. But I want to talk about a little bit about what triggers, you know, the scene when they were in the library, and they held off telling the information, especially Brina got the opportunity to go to UCLA, right? But she didn't. She wanted to take it because she could stay home. She wouldn't have to work and things like that. But because of her friendship, she didn't want to tell them. She would deny herself the opportunity to keep the friendship going, you know. And sometime in life we do that. We deny ourselves because we want to, you know, keep other people happy, you know what I'm saying? And that was, you know, one of her triggers. So how, or can you tell me what was any triggers that you had before you decided to go to school? Or can you elaborate maybe on why, a little bit more on why Brina may have done that besides what I've said? Because they kind of bounced off each other, you know what I'm saying, in that scene. And I just want to know what do you see that, that's parallel from Brina to you?
In that aspect for Brina, and I holding back not wanting to go to Spelman or UCLA, I think for me when I was watching it and with my experience, it's kind of similar to hopefully either going away to a dorm or going to like a community college, because when I decided, okay, I want to live the dorm life, I want to be more independent, I want to see what life is, because nobody at home got to experience that and nobody is teaching me to be independent. So also as an eldest daughter, it's like, I got to figure this out,
Right.
I think she was an eldest daughter too.
Yeah, she was.
She's like the glue in her family, like she got a little sister that are looking, towards her. And for me, I was like, dang, do I pick, exploring the world, or do I stay home and like make sure that my mom and sister is okay, or her life, her parents are good and they can figure things out without her, because like, she's like the elder, she's the glue. And so I could see that being relatable to Brina. I felt like I had to choose, my life and my school life and what I want to experience, or do I stay behind and make sure that I still get half of that experience while making sure my family is okay and they can figure it out, and my sister has somebody to be there when my parents are trying to figure out life. At least she'll have me, you understand? Yeah. I see that.
Well, what did you have something to say?
I agree. I didn't want to go to a dorm because of the same reason. I wanted to like be there for my mom when she needed me. Yeah. And then also, I didn't want to pick something that was so expensive we couldn't afford it.
Right.
Especially going out of state.
Yeah.
And
right.
in the dorm, it's so expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, those are, some things that, we have to look at, and this is some of the things that we can, let our viewer audience know about when you're getting ready to choose college and things like that. That, you have to be considerate, the financial situation of your parents, or, like Temple, I believe. No, was it Temple or... No, it was Alex. She wasn't doing too good in school. After a while, she started to like lax and slack up, because, maybe she felt like she got it, I'm in there, you know what I'm saying? And then she, found out that, she didn't have, her mother and father couldn't take her, have the money to finish the part with the financial aid, because they gave her a certain amount of financial aid, but like we were saying before, her mother and father could not afford that. So the suggestion was that, she would go to a city college, but she didn't really want to do that. She wanted to go to Spelman with the rest of her friends. Can any of you tell me that something that she could have done to kind of prevented this from happening?
She definitely should have applied to more schools.
There you go. I was waiting for somebody to say that.
Yeah, she definitely put all her eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, another reason why I did relate to that character specifically was the frustration she had with her parents. Because I do feel like, I felt that before with my mom, like, why you didn't save this for me? Like, you had a kid, like, what were you doing? Like, why you didn't save this up for me to do this thing or do this or do that thing? So I feel like I did relate to her on that part too.
On the deep part.
But she definitely, should have considered, every, like, all the aspects of everything. Like, you do have other siblings that are in school, so maybe you should have applied to more schools just in case something didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I do see, like, that's another reason why I did relate to her, because I can relate to that frustration with your parents.
Yeah. And I think, being a parent myself, that we don't have those kind of conversations. Well, I didn't have those kind of conversations in depth, but I was an example about going back to school, going back to get my GED, and then going to college, you know what I'm saying? So I became that example for my daughter to do it. But I think like a lot of times from people I know, they don't have those type of conversations with their children, and sometimes these children feel like they're on their own, or either they just have to go to the guidance counselor, get the information, and not knocking nobody, but you know, they're so busy, you know, trying to keep food on the table, going to work. I got to get Bam Bam to daycare center. I got to get pick Bam Bam back up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to put no shade on nobody, but for us to do better in our community, you know, we have to start having those conversations early on with our children about, you know, going to college, getting information out there to them and things like that. So, you know, we'll have more people going to school and vibing in the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask each and every one of you, what would you do? This is a call to action. How would you help people or children or young ladies in the neighborhood that you meet every day about, you know, their education, going back to school and things like that? What advice do you have for our viewing audience?
I would say do it scared. Do it if you're not sure. Just do it, because you have to sometimes be your own motivation or your own, not motivation, but like, or idol, or somebody that you look up to. If you don't have that, you have to become that yourself, because sometimes, like, no one's going to help you. Like, no one's going to be there to help you and figure it out. But if you do that for yourself, you will genuinely meet the people that are trying to evolve in their life and do the same. So whether you're just not sure or not, look at the, you know, the end. Like, I know if I start now, I know I'm going to have a bright future. There's going to be up and downs, but I know if I start now, scared or not, I know I'm going to be successful. So just start. Just do it.
Yeah, and that's good advice, because sometimes we have to be our own advocate out here, and we have so much, you know, information now. You know, we're in a stage of so much information, the internet, things like that, that we can get help for ourselves to go to school or go back to school. So, you know, the same question goes to you. What would be your call to action to help, you know, anybody that, you know, maybe having a difficult time about, you know, where their life to go? And not, it doesn't necessarily have to be college, or, you know, just having a difficult time navigating their life, young lady, young man, or whatever. What can you tell our viewing audience that could help?
I would say don't put all your eggs in one basket, like
that's a good one.
Alex did. Definitely give yourself, you know, as many options as you can. And also, I feel like if you do choose to go to college, go for something that you will get a return on your investment from. I feel like, because I feel like that was a big mistake that I made when I went to college. I went for art or design, you know, and going out into the world, like, with a design degree, there's not really many options, and it's not necessary to have a degree for certain things. So if you're going to go to college, I think you should go for something that is necessary for you to have this accreditation or this diploma for. Go for something that you know that you'll get a return on all that time and money you invested to, because college is expensive, and then coming from the environment we come from, like, we don't have money to just throw around like that. So go for something that you know you'll be able to build a better financial situation for yourself afterwards.
Okay, I really like that, T. I like that, and that's so true, because everybody say that, oh, you got to go to college and you got to do this, when there might be a child that may go to trade school. They may know construction, but we put so much pressure on, you know, our children that they have to go to college. They may want to, start their own business, or never go to school. But we just want to be able to help each other in our community so we have a stronger community. So same with you.
For college, I would say, to piggyback off of what you said,
Right.
I know you're saying that Alex put all her eggs in one basket. The
Right.
reason I feel Alex didn't get where she wanted to go was because she started slacking off her last year. If she had stayed on the course, she took her eyes off of the focus, like the goal, I should say.
Right.
You knew you wanted to go to Spelman with all of your friends. Your scholarships or how much money you get from a school depends on your grades and other stuff. She took her eye off of that prize and started slacking off. Therefore, she didn't get any scholarship or financial aid. It wasn't enough. So I would first say, make sure that if you do decide you want to go to college and you're going to go for something serious like law, medical, anything that may be expensive, you look into scholarships. Like there's scholarship for just being women, coming from an underprivileged community, anything. Look into those. All those resources are available. Start with that first. And if you don't want to go to college, you should look into like mentorship on whatever you decide to do, whether it's getting into business, if you want to do art, because necessarily you don't need to go to school for art.
Right.
But, like looking into places you can find your way to be as successful as you can be. That would be my advice.
Yeah. Because there's all types of certificate programs that you can get into. And like you said, because that's what I said about the hood. Some people say, the hood this, the hood that, and all that. But there are programs that, because we live in the area that we do live in, that you can get more financial help. And sometimes people are just not going to tell you. You have to really dig and dig for this. You know what I'm saying? So there are very good benefits living in our community. You know what I'm saying? So, as I wrap this up, I want to say, never let anyone make you feel bad from where you come from, because good things come out of every community. Hey, I may say the hood, but the word is community. Good things come out of our community. We coined the hood because, some people coined the hood, because, low income people live there and everything like that. And at one time, I used to, like, when somebody would ask me where you live, I used to say, oh, Canarsie, on the edge of Canarsie, you know what I'm saying, But I stopped doing that, you know what I'm saying, because either you want to accept me and like me for who I am, I come from the hood, or whatever the case may be, but good things come out of the hood. And this is the attitude that we have to teach our young people, our children, that you can do good where you live at. Grow, there's a saying, grow where you are planted at. And we're here all of us are here to water each other. We want to see each other, grow up. We want to see each other, evolve and do better. So as I wrap this up, the last question I'm going to ask each person, is there anything that you would like to leave the viewer audience with? Any last words that you would like to say to my new subscribers? Yes.
Subscribe.
Press that like, comment, and all that good stuff.
I would say, sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
I would like to say, utilize your resources. I feel like the older that I've gotten, I've, become more confident in not being afraid to ask for help when I know that the help is there.
Right. That's a good one.
And that's something that I didn't have, at my college age, coming out of high school, early 20s. And I feel like I grew into that. But something that I'm instilling, even in my youngest sister, she's in her first year of college now. I'm telling her, utilize every resource you possibly can. Talk to your RA, talk to your teachers, talk to everybody that you can, and use the information that you can get, because that's what they're there for. And I feel like going into college, you should definitely allow yourself to have that confidence to do that.
Yes.
Don't be prideful.
Yeah.
And getting involved in your community
Yeah.
so that you can find out about certain resources that maybe your college or the people in school don't know
Yeah.
about. Because the politicians here, they, some of them, they can help you though.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can help you.
yeah.
You just got to be more involved, finding these organizations.
Yeah.
That's right. Go to the tenant. I have to do better, but go to these little meetings that we have in the neighborhood, because you meet different people. You got always keep your ear open. You know what I'm saying? Keep your ear open on the train or the bus, because I have found out about jobs and stuff by listening to somebody on the bus. On the train, for real. You know what I'm saying? So you always keep your eyes open. You always keep your ears open. Is there something you wanted to say?
Again, like how we were saying, utilize your resources. You got the internet in your hand. I go to TikTok all the time and be like, what are free classes that I can take? What certifications can I take that are free within like my age range? And you just never know what happens. So just check it out and see. Just look it up.
So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Prince. I thank you so much for coming to my first episode of Project Under Hood. My first episode of Project Under Hood. And I would like to leave these last words. Believe in yourself. That's so important. And I know it's a fight. It's a challenge to believe in yourself, because you have so many things that try to knock you down. People might have said you're not going to amount to this, or you're not going to amount to that, and all these voices in your head. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a product of that, and I've come a long way. You have to work on yourself, and you have to believe that you can do it. Even if, just say, I believe in myself. Every day say, I believe in myself, and then take some type of action each and every day. So once again, thank you for tuning in to Project Under Hood, and I look forward to my next episode with you. Take care until next time.